What's up, guys? Philip at Trade Genius. All right, in this video, we're going to take a look at the Binance token. If you're not familiar with the Binance token, it is the token of the Binance crypto exchange. And by volume, it is the largest exchange in the world. Well, so the demand for the token is that you get discounted trading fees. So because of the huge volume that they have, there is a lot of demand for holding that token. When you hold the token, your trading fees get deducted from your balance. Being that they have a reduced trading fee, it makes it one of the cheapest ways to trade cryptos by taking your trading fees out of your Binance balance. So good demand for it. Ultimately, they're going to create their own mainnet for that token. That token is an ERC20 token based off of Ethereum, but they're going to roll their own mainnet to power a decentralized exchange. So lots of things going on. Binance is very progressive as a company, and the demand for this token will be sustained. But we are reaching all-time highs. We've been actually making all-time highs since the middle of February 2019. And so we want to take a look at where we're at today, where you probably don't want to be buying this at, and where you do want to be buying this at. So we're going to take a look at the charts, show you guys how we chart things at Trade Genius, and hopefully you guys can see some really decent levels to get some more long-term holds, because I do think this token has long-term potential and is probably one of the few that are worth having a longer-term holding on. All right, so with that being said, let's dive into this video and check it out.
Trade Genius.
Real quickly before we jump to that video, guys, we have that chart. We have this Loom BTC chart. This was a trade we took in the room, a nice gainer of over 8%. Very short hold on this one, just a few hours actually. And these are the types of things that we're taking in the room. So if you guys are curious and want to join us, head over to tradelikeagenius.com and check out package number 1. And if you are interested in some of the other individual items in the store, use the spring discount code and mention this video, and we'll extend that out 1 extra day. So again, tradelikeagenius.com. But this is the kind of stuff we do in there. So look forward to seeing you in the room with us. All right, as far as the BNB chart, let's take a look at the daily. Now, quite simply, to take a look at what is overbought and oversold, just throw a linear regression channel on this thing built into TradingView. But as you can see, this thing is way over the channel. And when you get to that point, especially on the daily, that's when you really got to take pause and see what's going on. Now, there's really no price reference here, because the previous all-time high back in the middle of 2018 was breached over here in the middle of February or so, and ever since then has been making higher highs. So this is not the spot you really want to be buying this at. If we throw on our moneymaker, we have a modified moneymaker setting. You'll see on the daily we've hit a level where it's triggered a sell, and now there's been several sell signals on this move up. These are very aggressive entries where they try to hit the top of the cycle. But on an uptrend, you don't always want to take a look at all of these. So what we do is we'll take a look at our stochastic lines and see where we're at. When we are trending on the this reddish line, when that thing's trending above the shaded area, that's generally indicative of a strong trend. And so we don't typically get too excited when we see that happening with these other Stoch lines trending up. So we don't really, get too excited about those sales. When the Stoch lines get up to this level up here and we get a sell, that's where we take a little more credence. So you can see on these, we've got, when that fired, there was a couple solid days of selling, a little move back up, and then some more selling, and then it resumed higher and made a higher high. Now, in this situation here with this last one, you'll notice that again we got a situation like over here where the stochastics have reached up, and then this signal, which is a different algorithm, fires. And so now we've got this first bar, and now we worked on the second day of red, and then this bar is now the third day. We'll see which direction it is, but basically those are the ones that we like to see. So right now is not a time probably to be buying BNB. The other thing is that we haven't really seen any divergence on the RSI, so that actually is a case for the bulls, meaning that this could pull back a little bit, The first pullback level would be about 0.0031 in BTC terms, and you could see a bounce from there. Now, if that next high does not make a higher high on the RSI, all right, that's a technical indication that this move could see a much larger correction back. Now, as far as the levels go with BNB, what you want to do is you want to take a look at, again, you've got a level that's a prior high back in the middle of June 2018. So automatically you're gonna just put that level there on the chart. Okay, you can see price came up to it the first time, couldn't break through, came up a second time, poked through, couldn't hold it, fell back, and then big volume move out. Okay, now up here, guys, since there's no price history, basically all this is just undiscovered territory. So you either have people that are holding the token from these previous levels that are looking to sell some at profit, or you have the BNB exchange themselves just making the market, supplying the supply side. And so basically, you know, when you get into these situations, that's where these moves can get a little exasperated, because you're just basically in new territory. And, you know, who's going to be selling up here? Really, it's just going to be people that have held it, or the in the case of altcoins, the exchanges, their supply, or the company or the project themselves that have holdings, if they're going to, you know, sell any. So they have to supply it to make up the market. So sometimes if the supply isn't there readily available and the demand is constant, that's where you're going to start seeing these larger moves up. Now, we haven't seen anything like a blow off top yet, and that's where you'd have a really long candle wick, and then a price collapse backs down, and you'd see probably a pretty decent sell-off. But until then, guys, what we're probably going to see is just look at some of these other levels here. And what we can do is take a look at the 4-hour chart. Okay, so now that's the daily outlook. The 4-hour chart, if you notice here, again, more of these aggressive sell signals have fired. And again, here is another, this was, you know, same with the daily, but again, these Stoke lines are dropping and these are firing. That's what we want to see. When we get into a situation like this, where we have the red line is up here pegged, right, because of the trend is strong, and we get a pullback like this on the Stokes, that's where we expect to see another move higher. Again, we wouldn't want to be fading that move up, but when these stochastic lines start to top out, that's where we start looking at when we start getting these sell signals, like over in this area, it starts to give us pause, and then it starts to, especially when the Stokes signals start to come back down, and you start getting these sell signals to fire, you know, combining those two things, that's where you want to see a fade. When the Stokes are rising like this, until they get up in this area and start looking to roll over, that's where I want to see some confirmation on some entries, or you be taking an entry and looking for confirmation that you're also getting some cooperation with the stochastic. So that's a little bit how, you know, you can use these tools in conjunction with our signals and get some really decent entries, even when you're fading the trend. But when you're not fading the trend, when we get some of these formations like this, where you have this line here and this stochastic signals pull back almost like a slingshot, like you're pulling back the slingshot, that can create these nice big moves up, and that's what we saw here, and then a continuation of that up here. Currently though, guys, on the 4-hour chart with BNB, again, there's reasons not to buy here, and I'm going to show you that on this chart here. We got a little bit of a head and shoulders formation. If you guys aren't familiar with that, it's a bearish formation, but basically you have a right shoulder or a left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder. And then what we're looking for is a break of that neckline, which drops us down to this support level here. And that's going to be around that 0.0030931 level. That's that previous height. And you guys see that there's a nice volume node here. All right. Okay, so that'd be your first level of support. Your second level of support is going to be down here. And, you know, that's going to be an area where there's been most of the accumulation running up into that range. As you can see, as we zoom back out, there's a big old volume node there. Below that support level, you're going to come back down to the 0.0019 level, okay? And this, you know, when the coins are doing this, these levels seem unimaginable. Like it's just never going to see those levels again. But if you look at things like Litecoin, LTC USD, look where it takes off. You have very little volume in terms of where it's been. Big volume node here, never going to come back down, right? But then, you know, especially when we have these large moves up, the moves back down can be pretty swift. And sure enough, as time progresses, boom, you get back down to that supply level. You bounce off the first part of that, comes back up. Those bounces are going to be decent, and BNB will have those types of bounces. So you just don't want to be caught up here in the stratosphere. You can, as you can see, there's several opportunities where you can play some bounces on the way down. But really, when you get back to the start of where the meat of the support is, that's where you start seeing some of the bigger bounces. So you get a bounce there, and then Litecoin comes back to that level, bounces again, and ultimately starts diving back down into the big meat of the support level, where it sees some support in here and then continues to drop further. So those levels do get revisited, especially in the altcoin space. So don't think that that's not going to happen with Binance. It certainly will, and would not be surprised at some point to see the 0.00198 level visited again. Now, of course, that'll be largely contingent on the crypto space taking a breather, but initially some of these upper support levels will most definitely we'll see again on pullbacks, again, because there's just not a lot of volume comparative to where a lot of the accumulation is taking place. So just bear that in mind, guys. Again, if you guys are interested in our indicators or setting up your charts like us, come on in the room, join us, and we'll help you get that set up, especially if you're new to the crypto charting and trading game. All right, guys, well, that's pretty much it for this video. I appreciate you guys watching. Just wanted to cover BNB because, you know, it's been a high flyer, but wanted to make you guys aware that even if that's the case, wait for this thing to cool off and pull back a little bit before taking an entry. But ultimately, I think on some of these levels, getting back to where we've seen some bigger accumulation, you know, especially in this area of this volume node here, I think that would be a decent spot to accumulate some for your longer term holdings, because I do think that the BNB token is going to be around for a while, especially when they start to fire up their decentralized exchange. All right, guys, appreciate you guys watching. Please hit like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video. Take care. Bye.
Trade Genius.